Okay, for the final portion of our project, I wanted to take a look into the international perspectives of early school tracking. Uh, Tracking was traditionally separated into two main categories when we're looking at the research. The first category were countries that began the process as early as fourth grade, and the other category were those that started at the age of 15 or 16, or ninth and 10th grade, also referred to as secondary school. Fourth graders are referred to primary school, ninth through 10th graders, secondary school. Here's a list of the countries that actually began the process as early as fourth grade, including Germany, France, and Italy. Here is a list of the countries that began at the 15th, at the age of 15 and 16, including the US, Sweden, as well as Canada. In terms of, based on the research, in terms of the countries that provide the most equal level of education, the top two countries are both France and Canada. Whereas on the flip side, the countries that possess the greatest form of educational inequality, the ones that possess the greatest forms of inequality are Germany and United Kingdom, falling in second and third. When looking at inequality, I was able to find that it was referred to in two forms. The first one was educational performance inequality in regards to standardized test scores. The second one was economic income inequality, which is pretty much the level of income a person has following the last level of education. The research made it clear, indicated that this factor was also highly tied to standardized testing. So overall, inequality as a measure is mostly tied to the concept of standardized testing. In terms of the argument of which one is better or more preferable for the two, research started to show that the earlier the tracking process, the more negative impact that a person's family background has on educational success. It also shown that it led to a systemic increase in inequality of student performance, ranging from primary to secondary school. So the earlier that a person was tracked, the more likely they were to not do well on standardized testing. And oftentimes that a huge factor in not doing well on standardized testing would be tied to their family's background. Here's a chart that indicates the difference between the two. On the left side, you have tracking at the fourth grade level, and on the right at the secondary level. If you take a look and you look closely, all countries that are black solid lines indicate a level of increase in inequality once they go to the right side. The only country that's not of that is France, which you see took a decrease in inequality. So pretty much the research is showing that the earlier the tracking, the worse the outcomes become in terms of educational inequality. Here's some more research in terms of different perspectives of early tracking. Research shown that postponement of school tracking reduced later inequality on the labor market in Sweden. Research also shown that early tracking reduced participation in higher education, as well as lowered the persistence rate in higher education in the Netherlands. And then lastly, early tracking reduced intergenerational mobility in Switzerland, tying back to the issue of family background being a huge factor in education inequality. What the research provided as a solution was called detracking. First, in the US, it was argued that by dismantling tracking and providing a high track curriculum, the US would be able to help close the achievement gap in terms of standardized testing. In Italy, researchers argued that it would be ideal for them to follow the same detracking reforms as other countries in Europe did, as it has been shown that it led to a high level of success in reducing social inequality. With that being said, the research pretty much indicates at the international level, collectively as well as individually as separate countries, educational inequality is largely due to early tracking. So long story short, it'd be best to try to avoid routes of tracking or wait as late as possible if they so choose to do. With that being said, thank you on behalf of our group. If you have any questions for us, please direct them to Dr. Pak, and we hope that you all enjoy it. Thank you.